Pleasant day to everybody, to the committee of the ICSF2024. Thank you for having me. So this research is paper ID number 6, Motivations, Challenges, and Resilience in Landslide-Prone Environment, a Hermeneutic Phenomenological Study in Samar, Philippines. I'm Angelo Pacala. So I'm currently working at the Presidential School of Uzbekistan, Karshi City, Uzbekistan. So while this study was conducted way back in 2019 when I was still in the Philippines. So let's start. So the topography of Samar, Philippines. So the province is mostly mountainous, mostly timberland or watershed, accounting for 84% of the province's total area, according to source number 11. So the average rainfall in the city or in the province is 387.9 mm recorded from 1919 to 2024, according to data 12. So the landslide is a very common phenomenon in the province, especially in Catalogan City, where this study was conducted. Torrential rain, stormy weeks or days can erode the land because of deforestations. Or even if the forest or the area is forested, because the soil can no longer hold the tremendous amount of water coming from the volumetric rain, so this land can erode. So the consequence of this erosion is the deaths and the destruction of commercial establishments and homes. The picture that you see in the screen is the landslide way back in 2014 in Barangay Mercedes in the city, province of Samar. So, but in the whole country, the number of landslide deaths in the Philippines has reached more than 2,300 deaths since 1999, according to source 3. So more than 100 of these were recorded in Samar. So as we know, to tell you the weather in the Philippines experience around 20 typhoons every year, and with these typhoons are tremendous number of rains as well that will be poured by the storms, by the passing storms. So what is the research problem and the objectives? So most of the Catbalogan's population resides in the downtown area, comprising approximately 2% of the entire land area. So understanding the reasons for this decision is critical for developing effective risk mitigation strategies and fostering sustainable development in vulnerable areas like in the province where it came from. So the objectives of this paper are to explore the factors that influence individuals and communities to choose to live in areas prone to landslide in the city, and to illustrate the experiences of families living in such areas and examine the resilience and preparedness of the families who choose to live in such areas. So we are fan of hearing news about landslides and why are these families still living in those areas despite being those area high risk to landslide. So we have wondered, even me, I have wondered this question, why these families still live in such a very, very vulnerable risk area. So this is now the research. To answer that questions, your questions and my question, this is now the research. So the research design is a qualitative research methodology. So this research philosophy is hermeneutic phenomenological, emphasizing an interpretive approach to understanding individuals' live experiences in a landslide-prone environment. So in this research, the use of hermeneutic phenomenology allow us to understand the importance of the intricate experience of the people living in the area, which lies not only in the experiences they convey, but also to the yet to be explored the significance embedded within those experiences. So hermeneutical philosophy in phenomenology means that we need to explain the reasons behind these reasons for these participants living in the such area. For example, they said that they don't have uh, uh, another, let's say, a house to live in safety for their family. So we need to explore this in terms of social, cultural, or financial perspective, from the perspective through literature search. So the research participants, initially 20 households were invited. However, only 10 households accepted the invitation and they were selected purposely. So they were told as a precaution and confidentiality and secrecy that their information regarding their names and responses will to be kept confidential, and only the researcher and the participants could listen and read the transcript of the interview. So in table 1 are the list of research participants. So if you will look at the age of the participants, the minimum is 24 and then the maximum is 62. So the minimum number of years they live in that area is 5 and the maximum is as much as 20. Imagine 20 years. So majority of their livelihood is being within that area wherein their livelihood is easily accessed. So data treatment. So the researcher utilized structural thematic analysis to generate these research themes and sub-themes. So the themes were subjected to hermeneutic process, as I mentioned, to contextualize the findings within the social, cultural, economic, and environmental context of Samar. Moreover, to ensure a thorough understanding of the lived experiences, so the researcher engaged in a continuous iterative process by which revisiting and refining interpretation as the study progresses. So I immersed me and my students immersed in that particular community. We were there for 3 days and we look into how the participants are living a life of being at risk of landslide. So looking at this experience also allows the researcher to connect to the participants, and the hermeneutical process will be very effective if the researcher will be immersed in that particular uh, scenario or situation. So the results are this. So the first theme is motivations for living in a landslide-prone area. So what are the motivations of the participants? So their first motivation is the lack of alternative housing. So codes such as having nowhere else to build their house, having no choice, having nowhere else to go were prevalent among the participants. The second reason is their accessibility to their livelihood. So the livelihood of the participants, as shown in this table 1, is very proximate to the dwelling place where they live. So, and the third motivation is the property ownership and investment. Imagine these participants, they live already at a maximum of 20 years, 15 years, 12 years. Obviously, they have made already investments on that particular area, investment on their house, investment on a convenience store. So these are the motivations why they still live on that particular area. So for example, for Luisito, it's good here because at least I can work as a tricycle driver. So for the second theme, the theme is about challenges and vulnerabilities and landslide-prone area. So what are these challenges and vulnerabilities? First, they have water supply problem. Obviously, these are mountainous areas, and carrying the water uphill will be a tremendous problem. And especially during drought or El Nino, it will be a big trouble. Now, second challenge is relocating to evacuation centers during heavy rains. So during heavy rains, going down will be very slippery. So it will be really a challenge. And it also was a prevalent that they have misconceptions and not having fully understood how landslide happened. So they have lacking information about the landslide. And obviously, since this is very risky, they're very fearful of the landslide. And some of them became victims of the landslide themselves. For example, Felicidad said, "Yes, I was in grief when I lost my 11-year-old son. Now, it will be 4 years this coming 30th. It will be 4 years now." Just imagine the horror, the fear, and the drama during this incident when these things happened. And the final theme that emerges is the resilience and preparedness in the landslide-prone community. So, for example, this resilience and preparedness is that the victims are given location to Payao. This is a community near to where this study was conducted. They are planning to move to the relocation site. They are suggesting artesian well from the government. And this is another misconception coming from the participants, because if massive extraction of water can also cause landslide, because these artesian wells are deep wells wherein massive extraction of water from here can also lead to landslide. Then the participants mentioned about getting timely alerts, early warning system. So the government providing early warning system to the people is a sub-theme. And then during storms and very strong winds during typhoon, so they're trying the house not to be carried away. And they are reinforcing the house, so they are fortifying homes against natural disasters. So for example, for Dolores, we just tie up our houses just so it won't be carried away by strong winds or by the rocks falling or by the landslide. So this is now the conclusion. The participants suffered the worst of having lived the experience of landslide. However, their motivations to stay is higher than the risk. So, why are they there? It's because of these motivations. Their motivations outgun this risk. Even though it's very risky, they still wanted to stay because they have nowhere to go. They have investments in that particular area, and they have already invested some emotional, financial investments in that particular area. So due to this perceived experience, they became resilient and tried their best to continue life even at high risk. So they help each other and fortify their homes during storms. So the recommendations are the government should provide residents with alternative housing to relocate to, fix their water supply problem, and provide more extensive education to the residents about the risk of landslide. So all in all, these are the voices of the people who are living in a landslide-prone environment. So I hope that you have learned something from the people who are living at a very high risk, this natural disaster called landslide. And I hope that uh, I have touched your emotions, and you have understood these people who are living at this high risk. So thank you, and again, congratulations to the ICSF 2024. More power.